covering spirituality, lifeways, and society, maintaining an attitude of hope and faith. This is the Truth and Life podcast, brought to you by Concise Consulting with Reverend Dr. C.E. McAdoo.
Another episode of Truth and Life, and I guess responsibility would be a word. Ready and interested in hearing what you heard today.
I guess I want to go back historically to Hope from the Hill.
Okay.
You and I have been doing this since 1988. This has either been on the radio. I did one, a personal interview with Dick Gregory. And I lift his name up for people who may not know about him. Many people know he was a comedian, but he is also an athlete, a great athlete. And he was an activist. Some of the stuff that I've done with you.
Was it DFC?
DFC, it was, I can't think of it.
Direct focus consideration.
That direct focus consideration. We had a piece to where my son would ask me to say something in 2 minutes. And that also reminds me of my setting in meetings in other places. There's a book called Say It in 6, to where if you're on a session, you're with someone, have your notes ready, be prepared, and be able to say what you can say in 6 minutes. And I go back to say that also in writing. I was blessed to go to a somewhat innovative seminary. And I remember when I first went in, they had us to write the history professor said, I want y'all to pick a topic and write me a 10-page paper. Man, I wrote that paper. It was the greatest paper ever written.
I know it was.
It was good. But you know what? I got back. You know what he told me?
And he said publish it.
No,
he said read it to the class.
No, he should get it down to 1 page. So I had to know back then. I don't know now. The size of my paper. We didn't have all this AI technology now of how many words you could put on that side. I bet now someone who's looking today can go to AI, find out how many words you can put in that 8x11 paper. So I'm saying all that to say this, is that I'm leading up to this whole responsibility piece because it's about truth and it's about life. Today I've been in an all-day workshop already today, and one of our members was in a local African-American barbershop. And in the barbershop, they were talking. Very, 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 I guess, intense, these African-American men.
That's how you do it in the barbershop.
That's how you do it. Just as you just did. You got variations. You had to make an adjustment. So we're going to have 100% soundproof. Hey, see, y'all didn't know. Well, we getting it lined up. But
hey,
that's how we roll.
It's organic.
It's organic. But anyway, so he came to our meeting. And this was a strategic meeting. And so he asked, there were 13 of us, 11 or 13. It was an odd number. How many of you know what they may have been talking about? Somebody said money. Somebody said, girls, women. He said, that's kind of part of what it is. And somebody said politics. He said, no, what they were talking about is child support.
Yeah.
Truth and life.
Amen. And that definitely is about the subject today.
Yeah.
Responsibility.
Yeah.
And so, child support. So was it anything in particular they talked about or?
Right. They talked about truth and life, because what they said is that if there was a good enough relationship between the young man and the woman, they wouldn't have to go to court.
Right.
You know, why did she take me to court?
Right. Well, and it reminds me of an organization you're a part of, Ministerial Alliance, and a school that I was a part of was Hamilton Learning Academy, which was an alternative school. I sponsored the fathership initiative that your alliance came in and promoted. I thought it was a very good sense of awareness to say, hey, look, these teen mothers are getting a lot of assistance. These teen mothers are getting a lot of nurturing and they are being talked to and mentored, but they didn't get that way by themselves.
Right.
And so we had a couple of young men who were in there that were 13 years old.
That's right.
You know, and they
and
were fathers.
remember, one of the 13-year-olds already had a child,
Right,
and had another one coming.
right.
A 13-year-old.
So in those meetings, it was a lot of truth and a lot of life talking in there. And one thing that came up as we talked frankly, really had some derogatory things to say about the women who were carrying their children or had their children. And some of the men and some of the fathers in there said, hey, look, you may have thought this way about this young lady, but you have to create a relationship with her because your commitment legally is 18 years.
That's right.
Spiritually, socially, and some other things, it's a lifetime.
Correct.
That 2 minutes or whatever it was is a lifetime now. And so just the sense of responsibility, and they even talked about child support. Had one person at the school who was a security guard who was also part of the mentorship.
Right.
And he said when his child turned 18, it was like he got a raise.
And you know, you and I, we didn't struggle with it, but I've got a nephew, and you've got a cousin. I don't want to scandalize it, but I'm thinking
it's in everybody's family.
He had 7 children by 24, something like that. Oh, that's close.
Oh yeah, he was a grandfather at 23.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know how many kids he had then, but he was a grandfather at 23.
Yeah, that's kind of
maybe not 23, maybe 24.
Maybe
24, 25. Yeah, he was a grandfather at like 25. I'll say.
But part of this whole piece is this whole thing about truth and life. This podcast is not a podcast to influence. It's a podcast for truthfluence. You said, wait a minute. I never heard of a word called truthfluence. Well, we're working on that right now. You helping us. But truthfluence is, as you listen to us talk about truth and life, you come in with a way that you can come to a conclusion that this is true. And one of the things about the child support piece is the truth is in the law. Whether we like it or not, those young men, and I went there to know which ones had certain situations, those young men, like my nephew, who had to go to jail, the truth was they had not paid the child support.
Right.
That's true. And so what I'm saying is there's some things in the law that's like I said, not for influence. The law is not to influence you. It's to truthfluence you. And when you go in there, that's what happens. But you can take that same concept of responsibility and truthfulness and move that to the areas that we've talked about, that we will be talking about in many aspects of your life. Okay?
Well, I was just going to say, to take it back to the early 80s.
Okay.
You and I had a conversation.
Right.
We didn't just start having conversations.
Right.
He is my real daddy.
Right. That's my real son. You'll hear this more than once.
And this was a hard conversation. It probably wasn't hard for him. It was hard for me. I felt like it was an interrogation. But anyway, my high school girlfriend and I were very intimate very early in high school. And so my father put on the table some real issues. What last name is that child gonna have? How are you gonna take care of a child if a child happens? No child had been in the picture, but what he was putting on the table to me as a high school student was the road I was going down was gonna lead somewhere. And that's part of the truth and part of the life that stuck with me. Is that child gonna have your last name? Do you believe in abortion? That was another topic you brought up. How will you support this child? That was another topic. So we addressed, or he addressed while I was being interrogated, a lot of issues that were truth and life based, but all of it dealt with responsibility. To that day, and I tell people now, if you have a child, will that child have your last name? And it's something that just from that moment on resonated with me. I had never thought about abortion. I'm just a young and dumb.
Young, dumb. We used to say young, dumb, and full of testosterone.
Right. That's right.
Something like that. Something. Yeah. Okay.
It was that conversation that made me feel what the responsibility would be. And I considered things that I had never even thought about. I don't, Daddy, to this day, I don't think I even understood what abortion was until you said that, and I went back to go look for it.
Well, and we hope that that's what this podcast does. Mm-hmm. We're not trying to influence you.
Right.
We're trying to truthfluence you. So, and that's part of that truthism and we're going to come up with at least a 3 or 5 point way for that truthism. And you did part of it right then is, number one, you said, who said it? And I think that's mainly going to be the at the top of the list. Where does this whatever come from? Mm-hmm. Is it someone says it? Is it someone you read it? If you get it off of TV, if it's a music, there's a big not a big struggle, but for some of us, and I'm not getting off the subject, when people say, "Man, I heard your son was in L.A. and that he was doing, what was he doing for my boy? I don't want to call the name. He was working for Too Short." Mm-hmm. And man, and I would be in settings with young folk, and I said, "Man, I like Too Short." They said, "You like Too Short? Have you ever heard Too Short?" I said, "Uh-huh." Boy, they funky. Yeah. They said, "But have you ever listened to it?" I said, and then I started listening to what Too Short was saying.
Too Short.
Man, Too Short was on the backside of the gutter. Man, that dude, he had a foul, as old folks say, he had a foul mouth.
Yeah. But he has some commercial hits too.
Yeah, well, he did. But his beat.
Yeah.
I mean, his beat to me sounded like an old school beat. Mm-hmm. But I got to go back to this thing that you and I talked about many years ago. And I'm not trying to embarrass anyone at all, because I start with my own family. I had 2 nephews, I had a niece. All of them were going in the McAdoo name. Now, this is one of my nieces who had a father and a mother who were married, but she still came and signed up in college as a McAdoo. They said, "No, we can't do that. You got a name." I've had some other nephews, they went in the McAdoo name until they've going back to the name of the children. Mm-hmm. I'm really getting into the true part now. Mm-hmm. You can read some obituaries and make you want to cry.
I'm on the same train with you. We're going down the track.
Okay.
As an educator, those forms that parents fill out,
right,
who tell you who the father is, who the mother is, who the grandmother is, she may be emergency contact.
Right.
It's a very you may be alarmed, or maybe you're not, because as my father said, it's in our family, it's in everybody's family,
Right.
I believe. But I had a young lady, as I was going through an exercise with my students where they have to tell what their name means. Now, I asked them to go find out from their parents or relatives, where did they get their name from? And so I asked my mama, where did Leron come from? Mm-hmm. And I know Leron and Madra were the two names y'all had. Right. In case it was a boy, it was going to be Leron. If it was a girl, it was going to be Madra. My father said it would be Leron Edward McAdoo, so that my initials would be Liam.
My initials were
Sim, C-E McAdoo, C-E-M, Sim and Liam. Mm-hmm. And so going through this exercise was an opportunity for the children, my students, every year, year after year, to start thinking about their identity, who they are actually beyond their name. But let's start with your name. You know, and maybe there's no story for your name. Maybe your name is biblical. Maybe your name is from a famous person. Maybe your name is from an athlete. We have that in our family. Right. You know, famous people, athletes, or whatever. So I'm sure it's a lot of Obamas out there, probably. After 2008. Right. But and I'm sure some Tupacs out there as well. So I said all that to say, as I was doing this, a young lady came to me and she had her stuff written out. And as I was grading it, I went back to her because I always invited my students to share the history of their name. And if you could, even look up what your name meant. Leron is derivative of Leon, which is Hebrew, and Leon means one with song. Charles is a derivative of Carl and is German, and it means good husband or good man. And then McAdoo is Scottish, and it means son of the black hound. So find the etymology of your name. So it starts there, but that's still not my identity. Those words in isolation mean those things. But who am I as Leron Charles McAdoo? That's their first definition, was the etymology. Their second definition was what they created and who they saw themselves to be. So this is the point. I was reading a young lady's sheet. Her mother had one name, her father had one name, and she had a different name. And I said, how did this happen? And I wasn't, trying to embarrass her or ridicule her. This was something we had at my desk. It was interpersonal. It was one-on-one, unless you was just eavesdropping and straight ear hustling. You didn't hear what we were talking about. Mm-hmm. She said, oh, and she had no shame about it though. She said, I'm named after my mama's ex-boyfriend. And I said, what? Say, yeah, my mama got pregnant by this one dude, and that was not the person who she named me after, because she liked this other dude. She liked her boyfriend, so she gave me the name of her boyfriend instead of my real daddy. That's how her mother, her father, and herself had different last names.
Wow. And that no. I got some I'm holding on to over here personally.
All right.
But that goes back to the whole child support piece.
Exactly.
See, it's almost like, remember, this is not about influence, about truthfulness.
That's right.
It's not so much.
That boyfriend is on the hook.
But the thing is that it wasn't so much the child support. It was the responsibility that these young men should have had with the mother, mm-hmm. with the child. And we're not trying to be 21st, but we're not 21st century folks that's trying to tell folks how to live.
No.
But remember that the influence part, if you listen to somebody for influence, if they don't have no truthfluence, see, I wasn't there at the conversation to throw some stuff in to say, well, now, how did you get a court date for your child support? What I've heard for, well, I lost my job or so, how did you get 6 months behind on your child support? Mm-hmm. All of that bill is talking about relationships and responsibility. And it hit me upside the head in terms of this whole name thing, because that's a responsibility. I am so glad my name is Charlie Edward McAdoo. Mm-hmm. And I go places all the time, and people ask me about this, ask me about that, and they want to call me Charles. Leron's name is Charles. My name is Charlie. We've got the same derivative of our names. That's right. But I'm proud of it. So we got the same derivative in our names. But in 1984, Leron's teacher had them to do, what's that family thing you do?
A family tree.
A family, you remember?
I remember the scandal.
The scandal. And so, my name is, remember, Charlie Edward McAdoo. My mother, man, this thing getting fucking now.
Hey, man, this is cutting us.
My mother was named Charlotte McClellan. So, of course, I thought that my granddad was some McClellan. So we called my mother, and I don't know.
Charlotte or?
Yeah, her name was Thalifa.
Yeah.
Yeah, Thalifa McClellan. That's another thing about these names. Thalifa, Thalifa. My brother was a twin, too. Man, I don't know if I can take this.
I called him on Michelle. Hey, this is some truth in life now.
I mean,
it's deep. It's getting deep. The challenge is do a family tree. Well, that's not the challenge. The challenge is don't let nobody get mad while you do it. But go ahead.
Boy. So I needed a course, and then my wife was fortunate enough that she had a pretty reasonable recollection of Granddaddy Charlie, and his, matter of fact, his name was Charlie Payton. Mm-hmm. And we was getting in, she could do her, so we called my mother. And it's not that she got upset, she was just reset.
She was definitely reset.
She was reset because she back there, we about ready to end today's podcast, but I got to tell this and I'll be through.
Yeah.
Because what happened is, I'm named after my grandfather.
Okay.
Charlie Smith.
I didn't know that. I didn't know.
That was my mama's daddy.
Daddy could have named me after my granddaddy. His real name ain't this, but he could have named me Slick. I could have been Slick McAdoo.
That's the same for
like
my dad.
My granddad.
His real name was Family. But we gonna end with this whole truth and life, the whole responsibility piece, the whole thing about child support. We started with child support. We're going to end with child support.
Let me challenge you to do a family tree without anybody getting mad. That's the hard part.
No comment.
Okay. That's it, y'all.
Churches and organizations face real challenges. That's where Concise Consulting comes in. We help you move from uncertainty to clarity. For financial expertise, we help you conceptualize, manage, and maximize your budget. Our lead consultant oversaw multiple churches that contributed to mission work at a rate of 95%, and now your team can gain practical tools to plan stronger. For relational equity training, we help churches and organizations build cultures of understanding differences. For building and facility issues, Concise Consulting brings decades of experience to develop common-sense solutions for complex facility challenges. For shrinking congregations, we help you navigate membership decline, tap into growing faith movements, and incorporate development strategies across multiple denominations. So how can Concise help you? Through on-site or virtual professional learning, coaching, and retreats, all customized to fit your organization. When you need advice, call Concise Consulting, 501 779-0649, conciselr@gmail.com, P.O. Box 55323, Little Rock, Arkansas 72215.